Welcome to the Gallop TV selection show. Racing takes place on Tuesday at the Vaal Classic Track, the 27th of December 2022. 8 races on the program, and race number 1 will commence at 12:35 with the start of the bipod. Alistair, good to be chatting to you once again. And how are you doing? How was Christmas for you?
Yeah, Christmas was lovely, Rahil. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to all the viewers and compliments of the season. I hope that Christmas was great for all racegoers and racing fans. And yeah, lovely day spent. Sadly, no racing on Boxing Day, so that's now 2 days in a row with no local racing. And obviously Tuesday now being a public holiday, I think there'll be a lot of punters tuned in to what looks like a typical Vaal meeting. Some good, some bad, but a lot of opportunity to make money. I just think you've got to plot your way through it with a little bit of trepidation. And those that are winning, I think, will well and truly be in the green and have a memorable day.
Absolutely, and the one positive about it is that I'm sure that the pools will be a bumper one, and certainly worth playing into on Tuesday over at the Vaal. Now, race number 1, 12:35 over the 1450 meter trip. This race starts the bipod, and number 4, Back to the Future, is your even money favorite here. Paul Matchett, Samango Khumalo teaming up. It's 33-10 about Green Bubbles, 7-2 Memorial Day, and then you can get 20-1 and better by those. Back to the Future, she looks to be the horse that they all have to beat. In terms of the bipod, I would be happy to take my chances and bank her. She's got the market rival number 5, Green Bubbles, absolutely stone cold on that run behind Silver Hills last time out. And then Memorial Day, she's been a horse who's been slightly costly to follow, and she's drawn out deep as well, so I don't think that helps her chances, even though she does have early gate speed. Number 4, Back to the Future, the one for you, Alistair, as well?
Yeah, my recommended bet for the day is a bar pot, and I've banked number 4, Back to the Future. The fact that she's got 7.5 lengths to play with number 5, Green Bubbles, I think tells you everything that you need to know. It's a very shallow field. There's not much form on offer. Green Bubbles, you'd respect a maiden to get it right one of these days. But like I said, she got 7.5 lengths to find with Back to the Future. And then number 6, Memorial Day, has become a professional maiden. She'll get a day one of these days, but her draw does her no favors. And then there's just very, very little else to be impressed with. So I think open up with Samango Khumalo and Paul Matchett, number 4, Back to the Future. Short and sweet. I think she'll take all the beating and hopefully get punters off to a good start.
Absolutely. Now we're going to move along to race number 2, which is the start of the place accumulator. Get those PA bets on by 1 on the afternoon. 1450 the distance. A maiden plate favorite in this lineup is Celtic Rumours, and I think that she is the horse that they all have to beat. She is a filly taking on the Colts and Geldings here, but plum draw, I think that's going to suit her nicely. Last time out, it was I thought quite a competitive race. There has been a winner from the form line, Splendid Season. Kinky Boots was the first timer that did come through to win, and Lucky Odelakis, he should have a fair line with the likes of Kinky Boots and Splendid Season as well, because he's got number 9, African Azoya, and this horse is at around 10-1 in the market, possibly looking for further, but if Dyers find support, then I want to keep on the good side, I'd say. But for me, number 10, the one to beat, Alistair.
I've got 2 horses in my bar pot with strong favoritism for number 10, Celtic Rumours, Rahil. Her 2 starts, she's looked like she's trying for this type of distance. By Vercingetorix out of a DuPont mare, the rest of the family, including the mother Sylvie, were all horses that found their stride when they went past the mile. So now Celtic Rumours goes around the turn, goes over 1450, has draw number 1. As you mentioned, form lines are working out nicely on debut on Betway Summer Cup Day, ran 2.25 lengths behind Melek. Melek has come out and franked his own form, winning a pretty useful handicap at the Vaal a couple of weeks ago. And then last time on World Sports Betting Grand Heritage Day, Celtic Rumours ran 3rd to Kinky Boots. The runner-up Splendid Season has come out and won, and I think there will be further winners coming out of that form. So I'm hoping to double up here. Number 10, Celtic Rumours. The backup is number 4, Quixote. The penultimate start was fair behind Kai and the Conqueror. Everything's come out and at least run a place there, including number 4, Quixote. This type of distance, probably more up his alley. I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't get the job done last time, but he returned with a valid excuse, cut into back 40 days later. So Johan Janssen van Vuuren's obviously happy with him and ready to go again. I think they'll run 1st and 2nd, but to be honest, I'll be disappointed if I don't double up in the bar pot.
Yeah, absolutely. They do look to be the 2 principal contenders. But as Alistair mentioned, favoritism for number 10, Celtic Rumours, in the opening leg of the place accumulator. Now we're going to move along to race number 3, which is the start of the pick 6. 13:35 is the time you need to get involved in those pick 6 bets. 1,800 meters the distance, and Battleground returning off a rest, and Galdane has been priced up as even money. So the first three races, we've got three even money favorites, and they do take on not the strongest of fields, I'd say. Prime example, he's had 15 starts in the maiden ranks, and he's been beaten favorite in his last sort of two starts, even though last time out he did drift out in the market as the money did come for the winner, Top Sail, and he was comfortably beaten on that occasion, and I think that he's going to be held in this lineup here. Prime example. Then we have 6-1 about American Star. American Star could be the interesting runner in the race, but I think that the Turffontein Standside track could actually suit him a lot better than the classic track.
It's an interesting race. I think it's a little bit more open than the first two, Raheel. Number 2, Battleground would be my first selection, just because of the form that Lucky Hudolakis and the form line that he brings out of the African Torrent run. African Torrent obviously came out and subsequently won. I know he ran a stinker the time after that, but African Torrent won a good 3-year-old handicap straight out of the maiden. Simango Kamalo takes the ride, and I think the Vaal will be better for Battleground than the Turffontein Inside track. So I think he will take all the beating, but if he's not quite there with all the rain around, if Lucky hasn't quite got him to the levels that he needs to be, then you'll probably need a bit of backup. That's my line of thinking. So I've gone with number 8, American Star, as the backup. The first run, there was a bit of word about him. I even heard word about him in Dubai, and he finished 5.5 lengths behind Winter Greeting. Obviously, Winter Greeting's come out and won out of that run. Last time I was disappointed with number 8, American Star, but I think he's worth another chance with Gavin Larena taking the ride for Tara and Zaki. Despite the bad draw, there's a bit of back straight to work with. And then number 4, Prime Example, if Ryan Munger can just hold him for a little bit longer than the work riders have in the last two, then I think number 4, Prime Example, will run his race again. But he's not the type of horse that you can follow faithfully, because he's found some very, very weak maidens along the way and failed to get the job done. I think he will win someday, but I think he's got 2 more ready horses to exit the maiden for now.
In terms of the pick 6, how many numbers would you include in this? Just 3 horses?
I actually be happy with 3, but I wouldn't be going in with number 4, Prime Example. I'd rather go in with number 9, Fast Duty. I think if he does acquit himself to the extra distance, then he could be the improver. But he will need to improve quite a bit to beat number 3, Battleground, and 8, American Star. I'd just be safe with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Battleground and American Star, 2 of the horses that do seem to be the ones that will be top in the selections for most punters out there, and Battleground is your even money favorite in race number 3. Now we're going to move along to race number 4, and you need to get those bets on by 2:05 on the afternoon. 1,800 meters the distance. This is a maiden plate for the fillies and mares. Favorite is Broadlands at 13-10, followed by horse number 1, Pomazelis, at 16-10. It's then number 10, Turn the Beat Around, who has been priced up at 9-2. And then Ponderosa Pine at 13-2. Alistair, what's your take on the race, and who's your top choice? Is it Broadlands, Pomazelis, or even horse number 10, Turn the Beat Around?
I'm very keen on number 5, Broadlands here, Raheel. I nearly banked her in my pick 6 and my bar pot. I've ended up going 2 horses in the bar pot, which we'll reveal at the end. But Broadlands under Calvin Habib for Sean Terry showed big improvement from first run to second run. I think the extra furlong will suit this daughter of Silvana. She was staying on really strongly. She was one of those that just cried next time when she ran in her last start 2 weeks ago on the Vaal Classic track. And I think she'll get the job done. On that run, she holds number 2, Solo Diva. But it was a weird run from Solo Diva last time out. She hit a flat spot for quite a long way. So I'm also prepared to say that the extra 200 meters will suit her. I think she'll get a little bit closer this time around. But strong first choice, number 5, Broadlands. I think the more she races, the further she goes, the better she'll be. Third start now, I think that she's cherry ripe for a big performance. As for number 10, Turn the Beat Around, she was priced up favourite in that debut of hers 12 days ago in a very weak race. She was drawn badly. She can step up with that run under the belt, but I'd like to see a little bit more from her before we can follow her with a degree of confidence. I think she'll get in the first 4, but I wouldn't go mad about her.
Yeah, certainly number 5, Broadlands, the one to be with as well. I think that she could just be the right horse in the race. Pomazelis, yeah, but costly to follow in her last 2 starts, and she does have a deep draw over this 1,800 meter trip. So perhaps Broadlands could just be the one to get the job done in race number 4, the start of Jackpot 1. Now we're going to move along to race 5, which is the start of Jackpot 2. It's an MR74 handicap over the 2,400 meter trip, and you need to get involved in those bets by 14:40 on the afternoon. Poets Warrior 4-1, Royal Mazarin, Banner Bridge, both at 9-2, 11-2 about Flag Bearer, 7-1 about Go Flickerty. And before we get your thoughts on the race, Banner Bridge, 9-2 in the market. I'm sure you're hoping for a big performance from your horse here.
Hoping for a big performance. I think that it's probably, I don't put it like this, 2,400 meters for Banner Bridge has always been something that Candace has been keen to try, but he's been running so well over 2,000 meters and 1,800 meters that there's been no real point to try him until this race popped up. He had the choice of this and a race on Thursday over 1,800 meters. Because they're 2 days apart, because they were similar fields, I think now is the time to try 2,400 meters. I think the story with Banner Bridge, he either run first, second, or totally unstarted. That's the way I see it. If he gets the trip, I think that he will be the one to beat, but he's not guaranteed to get 2,400 meters. We'll see now. Kabelo Matsunyane also got off last time and was keen to step him up over this mile and a half. So that's what I can tell you about number 3, Banner Bridge. He's not an absolute good thing, but he can very definitely win. Number 2, Poets Warrior, who is the favorite, finished in front of Banner Bridge last time out. I have a feeling that Poets Warrior was stopping there, although he's got a lot of... he's on an upward curve, the son of Wiley Hall. I think he might just be tested over 2,400 meters. He won't get a soft lead like he did last time with the likes of Flag Bearer and Royal Mazarin. That's another reason why things could well set up for Banner Bridge, because there'll be so much pace in the race. He might just be able to sit off them, let them run their race at fall in a hole and hopefully pounce, but then he's obviously still got to see it out himself. So with all that going on, I don't think Poets Warrior will have it all that easy this time. And then the horse that bothers me most for number 3, Banner Bridge, is number 6, Royal Mazarin. Samango Kamalo rides for Joey Soma. That's a combination on fire at the moment. He's a horse that's stuck me out. I've always fancied number 6, Royal Mazarin. He's failed to get the job done despite going close on a few occasions. I just won't let him run loose because along with Banner Bridge, the race might just be run to suit the two of them, and they might end up fighting this out.
Yeah, absolutely. If Banner Bridge does stay, then he does look to be the one that they all have to beat, as Alistair mentioned. Just quickly, what's your take on the 3-year-olds obviously beating the older horses at this point in time over the extended trip? I don't think it's quite easy. I know the other day Paul Lafty had a runner, Rockfall, who beat the older horses over, I think it was 2-4, but I don't think that it's quite an easy job.
It's a hard ask. What you do know is if they can get the job done, then they do have sort of maybe not Group 1 potential, but they do have potential to step up and go into feature race level. For example, I think if number 2, Poets Warrior, ran the first 3, I'm pretty sure the Aussies will target a race like the Derby Trial, and with a good run in a race like the Derby Trial, perhaps even the Derby. Because as good as I think the 3-year-old colts are, I'm battling to think of one that's guaranteed to stay over 2,400 meters off the top of my head. Maybe one in Joburg anyway that stays 2,400 meters off the top of my head. Maybe there's something that I'm forgetting. But, it's a nice test at this time of the year. He's got 57.5 kilos on his back, so that won't be too easy. I actually think the other 3-year-old filly, number 10, Go Flickerty, could be a player to run into trifectas and quartets with a very, very light weight and with blinkers going on, despite a bad draw. I like the way she finished off her race last time. Was in a particularly poor maiden. I don't know if she can win, but I think she's got quartet credentials.
Yeah, that's number 11, number 10, Go Flickerty. So race number 5, Alistair hoping that number 3, Banner Bridge, can absolutely run his socks off here and possibly get the job done. But he does have respect for number 6, Royal Mazarin, in race number 5. Now we're going to move along to race number 6. An MR 79 handicap, 1,450 meters the distance. And Alistair, this is the last leg of your bipod. So hopefully, after 5 legs, you are running smoothly and you sit in with a nice dividend heading into race number 6. What's your numbers here for the 6 with Tirpitz, your 18-10 favorite?
2, 6, and 8 are my numbers in the bipod here, right here. I must be honest, I'm flummoxed by the betting and I'm flummoxed by the jockey arrangements from Brett Crawford's yard. Maybe the draws put Kabelo Matsunyane off number 2, Sage King, because I think Sage King is the one on my eyes, the right one from the yard. I thought he was desperately unlucky to start coin last time when Johan Janssen van Vuren's horse drifted right across Sage King. Johan Janssen van Vuren's horse, his name is Zar Bomber, that's who it is. Zar Bomber got cut into and I think the efforts of Zar Bomber, I think, caused them to fall out onto all the horses, and Sage King felt the brunt of it. I think he gets 2 lengths closer to Star Coin last time, and I'm surprised at the jockey arrangements. With that said, number 6, Tirpitz, is in reasonable form. I don't think he's a world beater, but Cabelo's chosen this one. We've got to take that on board, but he's a one-time winner, and when he beat Brave Sue, he won a particularly weak maiden, and he's found some pretty average handicaps along the way, and despite running well, not getting the job done. Maybe he'll get it right this time around. The two of them have to be players. And then the other horse I've gone in with in the pick 6 is Mike de Kock's runner, number 8, Destiny of Souls. Samango Kamalo takes the ride. I just have a feeling that this horse is popping for a big run. He came out of that Bloodstock South Africa race where he wasn't disgraced. The form line is okay. I thought it would work out a little bit better. Then he ran a novice handicap where it was a weird race. I remember that at Turfentine. There was a strong tailwind, and coming from off the pace was not going to work, and Fast Love just stole it. And then last time, first run as a gelding, entitled to need it, wasn't a bad effort. Ratings come down £4. I think he's just about ready to run a big race, number 8, Destiny of Souls. So I'm happy with those 3 horses in the bar pot. As far as the pick 6 is concerned, number 1, Mitch Got His Wish has to go in, and looking around, maybe Vasilikos for the more adventurous.
Yeah, another horse that I'd throw in, number 3, Lord Varies. I think he could be competitive here in this lineup. He does have the beating of horse number 8, Destiny of Souls, on that run behind Rule by Force. But as Alistair mentioned, Destiny of Souls possibly just needed that run after gelding, and no doubt he'll strip much fitter. But I want to include number 3, Lord Varies, into the mix as well. And as Alistair mentioned, with the Brett Crawford runners, he does have favoritism towards horse number 2, Sage King, in race number 6. Now moving along to race number 7. And this is an MR82 handicap over the 1,000 meter trip. Get involved in all bets by 15.50. Favorite is Umtombo Walwazi at 5-2. Texas Red 3-1. Stormy Seas 9-2 in the market. And there's also Umtombo Walwazi. I thought he won a nice race last time out under Marco van Rensburg, who retains the ride. He's gone up to 6 points, but he looks to be, I'd say, a fair horse from the Clinton Binder yard. I think that he'll win his fair share of races. And he's a horse that's got quite a bit of scope for improvement in this type of lineup here. And I think he could just be the one that they all have to beat once again.
If you ask Binder about Umtombo Walwazi, he'll tell you that he's one of the best horses in his yard. That win last time was refreshing to see him back on the right trail. And if you actually ignore all the runs that have come on the Hollywoodbets Greyville Poly, his profile isn't all that bad. There was one run where he ran a stinker at Turfentine, but other than that, he's actually got a very good record. And I think he might just be a step above the handicapper. We'll know a lot more after race number 7. It's not a race that I really like, but I think number 4, Texas Red, is okay. The key with Texas Red is watch him go down to the start, because he is very, very difficult. Ryan Munga has a tough time with him before the race, and Ashley Fortune has a tough time sort of saddling him. So he is capable of running his race before the race begins, but if he does behave, then he probably is the one to beat. But unfortunately, we won't know if he will behave until about 3:30 on Tuesday afternoon. So just be aware of him. And then number 8, Arbitrator. His local debut was a good one behind Back to Basics. Paul Matchett and Francie Herald team up here with number 8, Arbitrator. If 1,000 meters was not a little bit on the short side, I know he's run second over 1,000 meters, but that wasn't a weak maiden at Hollywoodbets Greyville. He might be able to sneak into the money. But I think the race revolves around the 2 3-year-olds, Texas Red and Umtombo Walwazi. With a mention for number 7, Stormy Seas, he is long overdue, but not necessarily the most willing on race day.
I think this horse, Bronco Blitz, could be one to include into the mix. Last time out, he ran a dismal race, 7 lengths off them behind Umtombo Walwazi. But I think possibly ignore that run reported coughing. Samango Kumalo gets a ride. And if you have a look at the penultimate start, he got the better of Taikonaut, who since won twice, and Taikonaut won a very gutsy race over the weekend. So I think Bronco Blitz at around 10-1 in the market, he could be one to include into the mix as well. But as Alistair mentioned, the 3-year-olds possibly hold the aces here, and that's number 4, Texas Red, and number 5, Umtombo Walwazi. That's race number 7 over 1,000 meters. Race number 8, the final race on the program, which is a classified stakes over 1,000 meters. Get your bets on by 4:25. And race 8, a big field lineup for this event. And Alistair, you were telling me off air, not a race that you particularly like here. 9-2 about in the ether, ran an absolute cracker down in the Cape on Cape Guineas Day. Beat it down 5-1. And Captain Dizzy is a horse that's attracting money. 10-1 down 11-2 in the market, having his first run for Baron Bortas and Yolandi Foslu. And Samango Kumalo takes a ride aboard this individual, who does return off quite a lengthy layoff, 230 days since his last run when he ran 6th behind Silent Trigger. What's your take on the race and the possible numbers for place accumulators?
As many as you can afford. It's a very, very hard race indeed. first to address the elephant in the room, number 10, In the Ether. That run at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth and Guineas Day, as you mentioned, was absolutely extraordinary. It was a brilliant run behind She's My Captain, finishing second. She went down as a travel companion for Anfield's Rocket, and she ended up bringing back a fake check. Pila Sunday Early now takes over for Grant Maroon. But 10 days apart, coming back from Cape Town back to the half-out, that's a huge ask. I don't know when last that was done successfully. I don't think it's ever been done, never mind successfully. So if Grant Maroon gets that right, I'll tip my hat to him. She's got to be a player, because you don't want to be going out of your bets with a horse that ran like that in the vein of form that she's in. But she's for the brave. I'm not quite as brave as that to say that she's my on-top selection. If you had to put me in a corner and say, right, you got 10 rand, what are you going to do in race 8? I'd go each way on number 2, Samoa, with Gavin Lorena taking over for Bridget to start off. Gavin gets a tune out of this daughter of Global One. She runs her races. She's solid. She needs the race to run according to plan. She needs a bit of a pace to aim at. And in a 1,000-meter sprint at the Vaal, you're likely to get a pace. So she'll be doing her best rate late. With a little bit of luck, I think that she could be the one to beat. The last time Gavin rode her, she beat Love Bart. And, there shouldn't be too much between them on collateral form. Very, very tricky race. Bar and Boards is good with the horses that have come up from the Cape. So respect the money on number 3, Captain Dizzy. 1, Love Bart's got to be a player. 4, Wings of Nike, is the handicapper caught up with her, possibly, but she's not one to leave out. 6, Trust the Fire is likeable. 8, Above the World. 9, Beat It Down. 11, Power Ranger. Hasn't won in 572 days. And then my second selection would be number 13, Dark Tide. Good win, overdue win last time. Handicapper gave him £6, but I did make mention that when he gets the win under the belt, he'll probably go in a streak. So I've got to back that up and say that number 13, Dark Tide, is one that I respect and think can win in a race where many can.
Yeah, there's certainly plenty of value in the race, and Alistair giving you 2 horses at decent prices. Dark Tide at around 8 to 1, and Samoa at 12 to 1 in the market. An ultra competitive race to close off proceedings at the Vaal Classic Track, race number 8. Now we're going to move along to the suggested bet, and Alistair has a buy part for the guys. And Alistair, we'll put that buy part on screen, and you can take us through your buy part selections for racing on Tuesday over at the Vaal.
So the bar pot begins in race number 1 on the 8 race card. I've opened up with a banker number 4 in the first leg of the bar pot. I think that's one for the punters to start off on a good note. Then open up as the card goes on. 4 and 10 in the second leg. Like I said, I'm hoping to double up there with Quixote and also number 10 on the card. I think they'll run first and second. 3 and 8 in the third leg, but 2 and 5 in the fourth leg, very nearly bankered Broadlands there, but 2, 3 and 6 in race 5, which is the fifth leg, and then 2, 6 and 8 in the final leg. Pretty economical play in the bar pot. I think if you are taking a pick 6 though, you'll need to open up because the last race looks a minefield.
Absolutely, and a race where you could get a bit of a result, race number 8. Alistair, as always, thank you for joining us and giving us your insight into racing over at the Vaal on Tuesday, and hopefully we've managed to guide the guys in the right direction, and they can make a bit of cash on Tuesday in what now is a public holiday.
Yeah, Raheel, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. I hope it's a profitable day. Obviously, everyone's leading up to the Lomaron King's Plate in just over 2 weeks from now, so it'll be good to get a little bit of money in the pocket and also lead up to that, because that could very well be the highlights of the racing season. Yeah,
before we close off, King's Plate Day, Jet Dark, Charles Dickens, what's your thoughts?
Long way to go. Right now, I'll tell you Charles Dickens, and I probably will tell you Charles Dickens on race day as well. But just, looking forward to the build-up for it. I know that we'll get a lot of feedback from Justin Staithen and Darkenstein's team through Candice Bass Robinson. So, for those that will be going down to Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on King's Plate Day, enjoy it. And if you're thinking about going, don't think anymore. I think book your tickets.
Yeah, spot on. It's certainly going to be a lovely racing event. As always, thanks to Alistair, and all the best, guys, racing on Tuesday over at the Vaal. Hopefully it's a profitable one, and hopefully you can make a bit of cash.